one thing that people talk about men should date is when it comes to money. And I'm confounded, right? And this is why I'm confounded, because if we sit here and we say it makes sense for people to come together financially, that things like marriage and relationships are great tools to build wealth, then a man who may not have wealth yet, is he not supposed to be able to find his queen that they can build wealth with together? What threshold do you have from him being able to date? Not everybody needs Ruth's Chris in order to enjoy themselves and get to know one another. So missing me with some of this conversation in regards to, it's got to have a certain amount of money. Yes, he got to be responsible to take care of himself. The end. And the same thing, hopefully, for her. But I forget, women get to be bums and still go outside as if they got their own shit together for real, right? So in other words, man, stop the cap. You know what I'm saying? Stop the bullshit. Okay? Start looking at each other for real, because both of y'all can ride the bus together as opposed to by yourselves. Fuck out of here, this fucking list.
So I would just say this. One, the women who are independent get a lot of flack anyways, which brings me to the ones that I actually do agree with on this list, such as the men with multiple kids and baby mamas. Control your seed, sir, and pick a baby mama to marry. You know what I'm saying? Or at the minimum, control your seed. Stop creating dysfunctional homes and family. I also agree with the one that said men that bash women on social media on a constant basis. Because, sir, you don't got nothing else better to do but to come on social media and bash women. There's no community service that you could do to uplift your community. Is there no conversations that or men group that you have to talk to other men about concerns within the community? Or better yet, how about learn some financial literacy if you don't have it, or get a mentor or be a mentor? So what's the big deal about bashing women on social media?
It's not bashing women. This is their way. You know, y'all remember how like LeBron and D Wade and I think it was like two other basketball players, they showed up to a basketball game and they all wore the Trayvon Martin shirt. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
That's what this is, right? Like nowadays, the bar for activism is not very high. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people feel like by coming on social, they're helping to let women know some of the areas for which they can improve upon, and y'all are not receiving it. And so instead of looking at it as like constructive criticism, some of y'all are looking at it as bashing. So I just want to differentiate between the guys who are actively and lovingly trying to provide y'all with some constructive criticism versus the people who are outright bashing women. But go ahead.
So with that being said, constructive criticism, I can understand, but some men are going with the purpose of bashing, you know what I'm saying, to be derogatory, and especially when they uplift another race in the process of doing so. And so I support that one as well. And then the one that I thought was funny because I didn't know this existed. And then I guess this is part of my circle, because it's not in my circle, so I wouldn't know this. But men that have to load their card to add money. And at first I was like, what type of card they loading? Because I was dumb. I'm like, is this like laundry card or what the hell they load? But it's those debit cards that they have to add money
Rush cards.
Yeah. And I was like, oh shit. But at the end of
your bougie bag. Get your elitism bag. What? You have a bank account.
I was like, I support that shit. You ain't got no goddamn bank account. You not
But if
stable.
You got money
you don't got no credit union. But it makes me suspicious, because now I'm like, what's the reason why you only upload your card? And I understand that if you're just starting off or whatever, or even if you had a setback in life. But at the same time, I think some of these on this list, while it do seem arbitrary, actually indicates if a person is stable, right? And if we want women to be independent or interdependent and have stability, then why can't we expect that from the man as well? Like, why can't we expect some stability? And some of these are indicators that they lack stability. And just like with women, when they make bad choices, some of these are indicators that they're not great decision makers. So therefore, by default, we can assume they're not great leaders too. So that's where I'm going to say.
Well, let me ask you a quick question, right? So are only good leaders deserving of love? Are only people who are responsible deserving of love? Are people who've only made good decisions up to this point in time? Like, for example, you mentioned the men with multiple kids and baby moms, right? So granted, I get, that's why I had to ask that question from before. I get if you're saying from a woman's perspective, if a man has multiple baby mamas and multiple kids, I get that for that woman, that could be a red flag. But if we're saying that man should not be able to date, why? right? So are the only people who should be able to date are the ones with good credit? Because as I'm thinking about it, the more and more I think about it, I don't even know how we would even be able to fix our mouths to tell people they shouldn't date for real, for real. I mean, I know it's all funny, jokey, but yeah, go ahead, Jay. If you can help me grasp that, because I'm like,
it's economics.
Men living with their mamas don't deserve.
Dating is expensive. Dating is expensive.
Who says?
Dating is discretionary. What do you
Who
mean?
says?
Every time you leave your house, it costs something.
So where's the bar for expensive? $20 is expensive for a date?
It depends. If you're living if you are living at a level of income where you do not have a lot of disposable income, enough disposable income to get your own lodging or transportation or whatever, then perhaps you should not be dating. You should be spending that money on something else. That's all I'm saying.
So you said expensive, and I was trying to define expensive.
Expensive is relative.
Which is why I was trying to pin it down, right? And I think a lot of people would say you can date creatively without having to spend a lot of money. So if your argument is the money tip, I'm telling you that you can literally spend a date walking through the fucking park, grabbing I mean, again, it depends on the woman being amenable, it depends on how attractive you are, whatever. Delvin talks about this all the time. There are some guys who probably can't pull off some bullshit. So so again, on the basis of what are you saying that some of these men should not date?
So, go ahead, Jay.
I'm just saying, simply put, and this is not classist, this ain't elitist, this ain't none of that. It's just math. I'm not saying it's just math. I'm saying if you are not in a position where you can move your program as a man forward and what you want to do, then dating is not the best use of your time and money right then, right? Because the person you're picking up wants you to lavish on them. So unless you got lavish resources, don't get into the place where they want you to lavish. Don't go to the strip club when you only got change. Same principle. Exactly same principle. And please don't get a lap dance. That's like getting, I don't even know. It's like taking a relationship serious, like being exclusive now, beyond dating. That's your lap dance. Don't do that, bro. You got change. Go back. Get your pockets up. Come back another night. That's all I'm saying.
All women do not want to be showered like that, Jay. That's cap.
So I was going to say that technically I was rocking with you until you added the lavish part, because I believe that you should date within your tax brackets in particular. And so if we're both poor, so to speak, or we both don't have the means, then yeah, let's come up together. But if you're dating outside your tax bracket, then that's when it becomes an issue to me. So for example, if you don't have transportation as a guy and I have transportation as a woman, first of all, I'm not fucking with you because you don't got no transportation. This does not compute to me. And so because my question is, why don't you have transportation? And if you don't have transportation, is there a plan to eventually get transportation? Or if you're relying on, let's say you live in the DC area and the metro is the bomb, right? The metro runs to like 5 o'clock in the morning, whatever, then it's like, oh, okay, well, if that's your primary transportation because you're using your money elsewhere to do other things that's more beneficial to you, cool, right? So I would need to know like the whole premise of why don't you have transportation? But I do believe that that's because you should date within your tax bracket. So if you're a college student, date a college student or date someone similar. You know what I'm saying? If you work at McDonald's, why the hell are you talking down to somebody else who work at McDonald's? You know, give that person a shot. Y'all both flipping burgers. And even if you do want to date up, it's just, to me, I think there's what they're saying. And I can say for myself personally, that the way I interpret it is that should not be in the business of dating. I'm assuming they're saying now, right? That they shouldn't be in the business of dating now. That's the way I was interpreting until they become responsible. And then by all means, go ahead and knock yourself out. Hit the ballpark.
See, this is the bullshit that I'm talking about, right? This is the bullshit. Because notice how S&M, and I'm not saying what you're saying is bullshit, but I think overall this conversation is bullshit, right? Because it supposes that who created this list? Who was the authors of this list? Was it men? Was it a group of men who came together on this list? Or is it proposed or supposed that it's a group of women who came up with this list?
So supposedly it's a group of women who came up with this list.
Got it. Perfect. So what you just did is an example of what I think that they did, which is looked at it from their perspective and projected. Yes, as a woman, if you met a guy who did not have a car and you happen to have a car, these are your words, right? Then yeah, maybe it makes sense that guy should not date you. Right? Which is why I asked if we're talking about a list that women should look out for, should not date. Maybe it's a different conversation. It's a different conversation for the guy who's using public transportation. If that guy is getting to work using the bus. There are certain cities that maybe a car is not required, but let's move that to a side. If that guy is working his job and he's making a career, he lives down the way, he's able to take Uber. Uber exists nowadays, y'all. There are some places it make more sense to cop Ubers, right? So because he ain't got a car, he should not date, but yet he's paying. So I'm saying if a man at least meets the bare minimum, right? And I'm willing to, and I'm even, I was gonna say the bare minimum of living on his own, right?